Hello everyone, welcome back to chapter 65, or here, Human and You, whatever I decide to call. So, the author's note from the 64 sort of mind boggled me. I thought it was 64 season 4 of the story. It was 64 of the actual show, which this is probably gonna be alternate dimension thing, which it is, since humans here are pets and there's to be humans. Man. Alright, so this chapter is called Twilight Sparkle, Part 1. And I'm not sure if I want to do these in parts or do it in one go. I'm probably going to do it in parts just so I can get a break. But God, so technically this is Season 4, Episode 1, technically. Because the freaking vines and things, Discord technically left behind from the show. Spoiler if you guys haven't watched it. I'm not sure if you haven't. It's 2018, come on. Season 7 is like out and stuff. Anyways, I wonder how the author is gonna manipulate this in our favor of the story. Anyways, let's hop right into chapter 65. Princess Twilight Sparkle, Part 1. Vines. There were vines everywhere. Sweet Apple Acres was choked beneath the deluge of vines that had exploded out from the everfree, twisting and crawling across the land. Massive creepers spouted from the ground, wrapping around trees and buildings, and covering fields in a tangled mess of thorny vegetation. They were still on the move too, inching along in a determined attempt to cover everything in a sea of thorns. There was very little of the farm left that remained bare, save for a few of the sturdier buildings. This included a particular barn in the middle of all the chaos, one that a certain human had visited earlier last fall. Not that he nor the owner of the barn would ever admit to anyone. The white walls of the barn were almost completely hidden from view beneath the choking black vines. The metal letters above the main door, once having read SAA HBB, were now torn from the siding and tossed to the ground, where they lay scattered about in a chaotic mess of letters. Trapped within the confines of the barn by the dark vines, a small fraction of the Sweet Apple Acres humans huddled together, gazes locked fearfully on the windows. They could only watch as the creepers slowly crawled across the panes of glass. Several of the panes cracked, sending spiderwebs across the glass. The very walls of the barn seemed to creak and groan under the building pressure as the blanket of trailing plants covering the building continued to grow. With each creak, with the humans huddled closer together, they were comprised entirely of females. The younger ones that only just reached maturity, cowered behind their elders, who herded them into the center of the group. The humans were now alone in the fragile prison. However, alongside them, their caretakers huddled as well. Big Macintosh and Granny Smith had been forced to flee their home when it was overrun by the vines. The creepers seeped up from beneath the floorboards and through the plumbing. With all of their family missing and unsure of what was going on, the pair bore witness as their livelihood was slowly consumed. Apple trees bent and buckled under the pressure. Barns were toppled. Fields were engulfed. Unable to flee due to the vines blocking the path to town, they took refuge with their humans. Man. Oh, are we calling the vines creepers? Because I don't really know. A loud crack caused occupants of the barn to jump, and with a particularly large vine pushed its way through a window, sending glass and wood flying. It twisted and turned as it pushed its way further into the barn, as if searching for something. Only when it came within hoof's reach did Big Mac make his move. Wielding an old rusty woodcutter's hatchet, the large stallion stepped forward and brought the axe's head down upon the vine. Instead of cleaving the vine in two, however, the doe had simply smashed the vine, crippling it. The possessed creeper lashed out, quickly wrapping itself around the hatchet's handle as well as Big Mac's forelegs, who let out a startled cry as the vine proceeded to drag him across the ground. Several humans quickly leapt forward and began to wrestle with the vine, just trying to free the trapped pony. Digging into it with their teeth and nails, they barely managed to tear the creeper to shreds. The now damaged vine thrashed about wildly, sending several humans stumbling to the ground. As soon as the humans were free, Granny Smith stepped forward, wielding a makeshift flamethrower that ran on some old moonshine she kept in the cellar. She sent several controlled bursts of flame across the vine, quickly burning it to cinders. The vines outside the barn reacted to the charred vine's untimely demise, constricting the sides of the barn and the roof with renewed vigor. Several humans helped Big Mac to his heels before the group huddled together again. A second window shattered, allowing another vine inside. It too was met by a burst of flame. For the next hour, the vines slowly slithered through holes and cracks in the barn structure, only to be met with fire. The beams and columns creaked and groaned, but held firm against the assault. The same could not be said for the inhabitants of the barn. During a brief lull, Granny Smith checked on her moonshine level. The jug was half full, which meant that she could keep this for up for a little more, but she would eventually run out. When that happened, well, some things were better left unconsidered. As the vines continued to slowly consume their livelihood, the occupants of Sweetapple Acres pressed together. The shepherds watched over their flock, while the flock watched over their shepherds. Oh my god, no! This is an intense thing of the vines. Perspective from Twilight. Oh, this is bad, 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 Twilight muttered as she paced back and forth across the throne room. The splint on her leg clicked softly with each step, the pain from her injury temporarily forgotten in her distress. Her friends watched her from the foot of the throne dais, and Celestia and Luna from their thrones. Celestia's face held in a look of weary humor, Luna's one of exasperation. As Twilight moved closer to the dais again, Luna sighed. Be calm, Twilight Sparkle. Twilight paused. Be calm? Be calm? She squawked. This is fuck. This is no time to be calm. Oh no, this is the perfect time to panic. I don't know if you have noticed at all, but the Everfree Forest is just a teeny tiny bit out of control. Or didn't you see the vines? We saw the vines, same as you, Luna said, but panicking will do us no good at the moment. Twilight's eye twitched. Ponyville is being overrun by the Everfree Forest, and you two, she waved a hoof at Celestia and Luna, are just sitting here doing nothing? She paused before muttering a quick, princesses. Astute as ever, Twilight Sparkle in the start. Yes, indeed, Everfree is out of control. Your observation skills are outstanding. Discord's behind this. I know he is, Twilight muttered, ignoring Luna and beginning to pace again. I don't know how he managed to escape from the elements of harmony again, but we just need to find him, and this is not Discord's doing. Oh, okay, different fucking thing. Celestia interrupted. She was silent for a few seconds before adding, at least as far as I can tell, his magic signature faded when his body crumbled, so it is safe to say that he is either powerless at the moment or dead. Though I shouldn't be too hopeful about that, she added under her breath. He could have enchanted the plants before we defeated him, Twilight muttered. There were several times that he was out of sight while chasing us. He could have easily teleported to Everfree while we were... Once again, I highly doubt that, my faithful students, as I said. What purpose would that serve? Why have a backup plan when he assumed that he was going to win here in Canterlot? But... yeah, it's Discord. I still say it's Discord. I don't care if he planned it a long time ago. It's Discord. That jackass. Okay. Besides, the magic in the vines are ancient, says to continue. They are not a recent occurrence. They have been festering for a while, much like an infected wound. One that has gone unnoticed for far too long. Twilight's eye twitched again. Then he planted them a long time ago. Celestia opened her mouth, only to close it and purse her lips. Glancing sideways at her sister, the pair shared a look of dawning realization before they returned their attention to Twilight. An interesting theory, I will admit, Luna hummed, and we see the merit behind it, but we don't have any real proof at the present time, nor does it really matter. The vines are here, regardless of who planted them. In any case, the solution is simple. We need to locate the source and eliminate it. Which means going into the Everfree Forest, Celestia added thoughtfully. So let's get the guards together and go take care of this, Twilight said, stopping her hoof. We'll get several squads together and track down the source immediately. Problem solved. If it were only were that simple, Luna harumphed. Why isn't it? Twilight shot back, her mane until we're beginning to fray. Because of what horrors have been wrought here in Canterlot, Luna said with irritation. Given the current state of affairs within our city, we can't just jump up. We can't just up and send guards out to solve this mess. Many of them are currently receiving medical care, and the ones that aren't are either combing the castle for any remaining threats or out trying to calm the citizens currently massing outside our gates. We practically have a full-blown riot on our hooves. Face it, Twilight Sparkle. Whether you like it or not, we have no guards within the city to spare at the moment. Unfortunately, my sister is right, Twilight, Celestia said. We have no guards to send. Her ears played back. I would have liked to send a few battle mages, as this falls perfectly under their expertise, given the current condition. However, that is definitely out of the question. Twilight's tail thrashed back and forth as she glared up at the sisters. So what? What do we do then? Just let Ponyville crumble beneath the vines? Leave the ponies there, live there to their own devices? Turn a blind eye? She stumped her hoof. That is not acceptable. Twilight, you are a princess. You have to face this too. Come on. This is Canterlot, which the two ones that are in charge of the moon and the sun are taken care of. But you live in Ponyville, so it's your jurisdiction. That's the best way I can put it for you, Twilight. Still thy tongue, Twilight Sparkle, Luna snarled. What little warmth that was left in her voice was gone. Her princess grew larger and menacing, her shadow creeping up the wall behind her. The temperature in the room dropped a few degrees. Do not dare to presume to speak as such to us. You think that you're the only one here that cares? Fuck. I'm messing this up. Do not dare to presume to speak as such to us. You think that you are the only one here that cares for those down in Ponyville? Nay, there are those there that I deem precious to me as well. It is not that some of your friends have Is it not that some of your friends have family there as well? She gestured at the mares currently huddled at the bottom of the dais. Strange, I have heard them panicking, yet they seem to have greater reason to do so. Damn. Freaking Loda is just bad right now. Twilight's ears splayed back as Luna finished talking. An ashamed blush spread across her face. Her tail tucked between her legs as she turned to face her friends. Sorry, girls. I got so caught up in everything that I forgot. She winced before hanging her head. I shouldn't have panicked. You guys are suffering too. That's alright, Sugar Cube, Applejack said, although the smile she gave Twilight was strained slightly. I'm sure Granny and Big Mac are handling the farm just fine by themselves. They can look after Abaloom as well. Twilight bit her lip. That may be, but still. You are under a great deal of stress, darling, Rarity said, a weak smile on her face as well. It's understandable, given what we've been through in the last few hours. No need to blame yourself. That still doesn't excuse my behavior, though, Twilight murmured. I should have realized that I wasn't the only one worried about Ponyville. You have been living there longer than I have. Everything's gonna be fine, Piggy chirped, nodding her head. We just need to figure out how to get rid of those big old nasty vines. Fuck. Twilight frowned, but there are no guards to spare. We have no pony to send. You didn't let me finish, my faithful student, Celestia said. There was a small twinkle in her eye and a faint smile on her lips. Well, it is indeed true that we have no guards to send. That does not mean that we aren't going to be sending ponies to help Ponyville. Far from it, in fact. We'll be sending the best ponies we currently have available. Really? Twilight asked. She perked up, only for her expression to turn to confusion a few seconds later. Wait, if there aren't guards, then who are you sending? Twilight. Excuse, this is the thing. You're stressed as fuck right now about Max and everything that's happened, apparently in the past few hours. You look at yourself. Look at the element bearers. Where does see this smile still present on her face? Celestia lifted a hoof and pointed down at the mirrors at the foot of the dais. The 5 mirrors, her friends, and the other element bearers. Wait, what? The 5 mirrors, her friends, the other element bearers. Okay. Twilight's eyes widened in shock as understanding washed over her. Wait, you're sending us? She yelped. Of course, Celestia said. It makes sense, does it not? Luna added. If these vines are indeed the work of Discord and his chaos magic, then who better than the elements of harmony to take care of them? She glanced sideways at her sister, sharing a knowing look again before she returned her attention back to Twilight. Unfortunately, this is something that you 6 would need to handle by yourself. Neither I nor my sister will be able to accompany you. We must tend to matters here in Canterlot. You want us to go into the Everfree? Twilight asked, her eyes wide. Luna raised an eyebrow. Why are you so anxious for the guards to do this instead of yourself? If I recall correctly, you've been in the Everfree many times before, only now do you hesitate? Why? Twilight bit her lip. I don't want. She began softly, only to pause and take a breath. Her eyes darted up towards the ceiling, or more specifically, what was beyond it. I don't want to leave Max. Luna's eyes widened, and before her gaze softened. Ah, I see. You needn't worry about him. He's in good hooves. I know, Twilight groaned. It's just, after everything that's happened, I can't help but worry. It seems like every time we get separated, something bad happens to him. Celestia frowned. That seems a little. The pit fight, the manticores, the infected human, the gala, hot storming Eve, went to wrap up, and now this, Twilight ranted. Whenever he goes off by himself, he ends up hurt. He's already hurt at the moment. I don't think I can handle seeing him hurt again right now. She's got a point, Applejack muttered to Rainbow, who nodded her head in agreement. Luna and Celestia exchanged looks. Her fucking, technically a part, okay, I don't know what it is, a part of her life that she loves dearly. It was hard as fuck. Luna and Celestia exchanged looks. I can assure you, Twilight, nothing bad is going to happen, Celestia murmured gently. Discord's been defeated, the Terran humans are under watch, and we have control over Canterlot again. Luna and I are present within the halls. Our healers will look after him while you're gone. He'll be alright, as rain by the time you return. I know, but there are guards around him as well. Even if some of them may be injured, Luna added, his own guards are there as well. I highly doubt that Aurora will allow anything threatening to come anywhere near... I highly doubt that Aurora will allow anything threatening to come anywhere near Max. Even your father is there watching him. I know, Twilight shouted. I know, okay? I know it's not logical. I know that it seems safe at the moment, but I just have an uneasy feeling about it. I can't explain it. Luna rolled her eyes and let out a small hoof. She opened her mouth again, only for another voice to cut her off. Can't explain it, huh? If that's the case, I'll watch the knucklehead for you. Heads turned in the direction of the throne room's... Fuck me! Heads turned in the direction of the throne room's doors, and the white unicorn currently making her way towards the dais. Dark violet glasses covered her eyes and seemed to flash in the torchlight. Lady Scratch, Luna asked, cocking her head to the side slightly. This is a surprise, albeit a welcome one. I thought you'd be at home with your girlfriend. Well, Vinyl said as she's what the fuck is that word? Sashayed her way across the room. I was in the neighborhood grabbing a quick bite to eat. Luna's eyes narrowed. When I decided to drop by and see what all the commotion was about, she stopped in front of Twilight and eyed her from behind the tinted glasses. Sup, Twi? Twilight nodded. She eyed her curiously. Not that it isn't nice to see you, but what are you doing here? Like I said, I was in the neighborhood Anyway, I couldn't help but overhear your predicament. I'll be willing to keep an eye on Max for you while you're gone, if you'd like. That would actually work in your favor, Twilight, said Sister with a smile. Twilight cocked her head to the side. How so? Sister motioned towards Vino with a lady scratch here is an ex-captain of the Lunar Guard. When Twilight glanced up at Vino, she nodded in confirmation. It's true, she said, a smug smile on her face. I quit to pursue my career in witchcraft and wobbery. Is that satisfactory? Twilight, Luna asked. Wait. Okay, before that, let me just... Isn't Primrose gonna have, like, a reaction to her when she just walks into the infirmary like that? Nibbling on her lower lip, Twilight stared at Vinyl, studying her closely. Vinyl just stood there, her body relaxed, and a small smile on her face. You'll watch after him? Twilight eventually asked, a slight tremor in her voice. Yup, Vinyl nodded. Twilight's eyes narrowed. You promise? Reaching up, Vinyl lowered her glasses and peered over the top of them. She gave Twilight a hard look, her red eyes flashing brightly for a brief moment before she covered them again. When she spoke, her voice seemed to echo around the room. I promised that nothing and no one would touch him without my permission. A shiver ran down Twilight's spine as well as all the torches in the room suddenly dimmed and flickered, almost as if an unfelt wind blew through the room. Ooh, Pinky cooed, her eyes wide. That was a good one, even better than mine. Twilight gave Ino one last look before saying, Alright, I guess that's good enough for me. She turned and glanced over at her friends. You girls up for another adventure? Oh yeah, Ribble whooped, leaping into the air and doing a flip, just like old times. A booyah, Pinky chirped, jumping up as well. A faint smile on her lips, Twilight looked up at Celestia. Princess, do you have a plan for getting us to Ponyville? She paused before lifting up her splinter leg, preferably a way that isn't too strenuous. Well, it's safe to say that the train is not an option, Celestia hummed. Celestia hummed, causing Luna to face off and grumble something under her breath. That being said, there are a couple of chariots that are currently available, though there are no guards to fly it. If only we had a pair of strong, able-bodied Pegasi. Her gaze slowly drifted over to Rainbow, who perked up. Yeah, Fluttershy and I can do it, she chirped. We'll get every pony there in 10 seconds flat, right, Fluttershy? Yep! Upon being called up, Fluttershy let out a startled yelp before quickly hiding behind her mane. After a few seconds, she re-emerged and gave a shaky nod and a timid smile. It's settled then, Luna said with a nod. You six will go to Ponyville, and once there, find the source of the vines. Damn. So Vinyl's gonna watch after Max now? It'd be funny if Vinyl just become fuck, I need taking off my jacket. If Vinyl just becomes one of his guards, because that's what happened in the Christmas interlude of this. I like how that's just fit perfectly in time with this. Anyways, it's Merry Christmas in my location at the moment, or this time when I'm recording. Okay. Oh man. I know. Once you have located the source, Celestia continued, it should be simple enough to figure out how to banish the vines. If all goes well, it should be clear to you how to proceed. We just use elements on him, right? Applejack asked, cocking her head to the side. Say nothing. Saying nothing, Celestia just gave her a knowing smile before turning to one of the guards positioned at the base of the throne dais. Kindly escort the elements to the chariots, the guard saluted before motioning for Twilight and the others to follow him. They did so, Twilight limping along in the rear, the splint on her hind legs still clicking softly on the marble floor. Whoop, I better head up to the infirmary, Final sighed through a small smile touched her lips. Catch you later, Luna. Starting off, she bobbed her head along to music that only she could hear. As the throne room door closed behind her, Luna glanced at Celestia. Do you think that... Yes, Celestia answered. And they will, most likely. And the tree? We shall see, Luna. We shall see. Ah, yes. The tree of harmony. Love it. Anyway, Ponyville perspective. Wait, Spitfire lives a... I don't believe that. Anyways, what the buck was that? Wheezed Spitfire, gasping for breath. Her Wonderbolt's uniform was torn and muddied from being forcibly dragged to the ground not moments ago. Her assailant now laid motionless on the ground, save for a few occasional twitches, having been taken care of by her teammates. The thing looked like a weird cross between a spider and a flower. It had attacked Spitfire out of nowhere while she and her squad had been doing reconnaissance over the edge of the Everfree Forest, trying to figure out what was causing the sudden appearance of the vines. Latching onto her face, Ed immediately blasted her with a spray of some kind of gas. Just so one short burst was enough to make Spitfire woozy. It had only been the quick thinking of one of her teammates who had ripped the spider flower thing off the vine it was attached to that had prevented Spitfire from passing out. Witching loudly, Spitfire gagged as a gritty taste filled her mouth. It felt as if she had a mouthful of sand. What the buck is that thing doing? What the buck is that thing? She growled, glaring at the twitching plant. Don't know, Spitz, one of the Wonderbolt's Fleetfoot answered. She eyed the plant cautiously, her brow furrowed. Whatever it is, It was on you faster than Soren's on pie. Didn't even see it coming. Another one bull high winds approached Spitfire, pushing up her goggles to reveal concerned green eyes. She had a small pair of saddlebags across her flanks, marked with a red cross. Reaching up, she gingerly grabbed a hold of Spitfire's face. Here, let me see. Bucking thing got in my mouth, Spitfire growls. Some minor scratches, Highwind said after a few seconds of examination. Doesn't look like anything major, though. You should be fine. It's in my bucking mouth, Spitfire said again before spitting. The glob of saliva that fell from her mouth was tinted black and seemed to cling to her lips. Highwinds blinked. I take that back. That can't be good. Hey, Spitz, called a male Pegasus with light blue coat and dark blue mane. What, Soren? Growled Spitfire. Black spit still dripping from her lips. That's more of it. There's more of them, Soren said, pointing a hoof towards Everfree. They're just within the tree line. Several more of the spider plants could be seen slithering about. They seem reluctant to emerge from the safety of the crooked trees, though. Fuck, where am I? I just lost my place. Okay, it's right there. I hate when that happens. I'm just like scrolling down and I'll just lose where I'm at. Anyway, so crooked trees though. Hope no pony else has run afoul of them, Playfoot said. Sound off, Spitfire ordered, glaring at the shifting plants in the tree line. Misty Fly? Here, Fleetfoot. Here, High Winds. Here, Surprise, still kicking. Lightning Streak, yo! Fire Streak, Blaze, Soren, 3 more sounds of confirmation. Spitfire sighed in relief. No pony else had been snagged by one of those damn things. Fire Streak, Blaze, figure out what that is, she ordered, pointing at the downed plant that had attacked her. I want to know what's going on with this forest, and I want to know about it in 5 minutes. I want to know about it 5 minutes ago. Got it? On it, Spitz, the 2 Pegasi answered before descending upon the plant. Here, Highwinds said, handing Spitfire a bottle of water. Clean out your mouth. No telling what that stuff is. Better safe than sorry. Grabbing the bottle of water, Spitfire glanced around at the rest of her squad. Scout the area, but don't stray far. As soon as we figure out what that thing was, we're on the move again. The Pegasi saluted before speeding off in all directions. You doing okay? Highwinds asked as Spitfire tore into the bottle and began to chug the water, only to spray it onto the grass. The liquid was tinged black, like specks floating about. Fine, she sighed. Damn it, I forgot. If you're still throwing black saliva out, I don't think you're fine, Spitfire. Highwinds cocked an eyebrow. You sure? She glanced down at the tainted water. That looks nasty. I'm fine, Spitfire snapped, only to bite her lip. Well, no, I'm not. Her gaze drifted towards Canterlot. Black smoke could be seen wafting out from the palace, though it did not look to be in better condition than they had been earlier. Now that the islands of land floating around the airspace were gone, the sky also wasn't blood red anymore. They seem to have things under control, Highwinds said, glancing up at Canterlot as well. They can take care of themselves. Spitz, we need to focus on Ponyville right now. These vines aren't going to take care of themselves. Ponies are counting on us. I know, Spitfire grumbled before spitting in the grass again. She stared up at Canterlot for a few more seconds before suddenly returning and shouting over her shoulder. Learn anything yet? Not yet, Firestreak shouted back. It just appears to be an ordinary plant. I can't even figure out what magic is controlling it. The same magic as Timberwolves, Highwinds offered. Firestreak shook his head. Nope, completely different. Ordinary plant, my flank, Spitfire huffed. If that thing's a normal plant, then I'm a parasite. Bringing the water bottle back to her lips, she swished the water around her mouth before spitting it out again. This time there was less black in it than before. I'd bet my ridiculous salary that their magic. Okay, I'd bet my ridiculous salary that they're magical in origin. I don't honestly know what the salary is. I'm not taking that bet, Highwinds muttered. Around Ponyville, what isn't? Spitfire just smirked, only for her ears to perk a second later. A shout came from further down the tree line. Fleetfoot was returning with her other ponies in tow. As they drew nearer, Spitfire blinked in surprise. A zebra? She said, scrunching up her muzzle. It was indeed a zebra with Fleetfoot, the mare decked out in golden rings and a torn cloak. She was pulling a loaded cart full of various personal effects. Also with her were 3 fillies, an earth pony with a large bow, a small Pegasus, and a light gray unicorn. Where did you even find them, Fleetfoot? They were coming out of the forest over there, Fleetfoot said with a point of a hoof. It looks like it used to be a path before the vines took over. The other wonderbolts were beginning to return, huddling around the zebra to hear her story. To hear the zebra's story! Sakura! I don't know why. Oh my god. So, okay, the Crusaders are with her. And technically, the girls aren't in town at the moment. From my home, I had to flee, the zebra said, breathlessly heaving. The forest has grown too wild, even for me. Spitfire noticed that the earth pony and unicorn were huddling behind the zebra. They nodded their heads in agreement. The Pegasus, however, was staring at her, a disturbing look of awe on her face. The Everfree has cast me out, the zebra continued. I can't go back, I have no doubt, and now I think it wants your home to shrink. She motioned towards Ponyville, which was getting harder to see beneath the sea of vines. Wait, you live in the Everfree? Highwind's asked, eyebrows raising. When the zebra nodded, she perked up. Really, then, do you have any idea why all this is happening? The zebra said, I'm afraid it's a mystery to me as well. For what is happening, I cannot tell. Damn, Highwind muttered, her ears playing back. Fleetfoot nudged her with a hoof before giving the zebra a small smile. Well, at least you got out in time. You could have gotten trapped by the vines if you weren't careful. The zebra opened her mouth to respond, only to be interrupted by a shout. Hey, Captain! Firestreak called out, slowly, trepidation clear in his voice. You're gonna want to see this. The group turned to look at the two Pegasi who were examining the spider plant. Firestreak was holding up a small test tube, an uneasy look on his face. The liquid within was glowing bright red. No, Howens gasped. Chemical test confirms it, Firestreak said, giving the vial a small shake. This thing is packed with black vine virus spores. Oh, so that's coming back. What the fuck? Okay, so no human can touch it. Well, no Equestrian human. Luckily, well, fuck no. Max is still out cold, and the other ones aren't really gonna be helpful. Well, that's fucking great. So, it's packed with black vine virus spores. Oh shit. Spitfire and Highwinds glanced at each other in alarm before they both looked down at the blackened water Spitfire spat from her mouth moments ago. Fuck me running, Spitfire growled before reaching quickly into her saddlebags and pulling out a vial of her own. Giving it a good shake, she used her teeth to pull the cork stopper. Wait, okay, before I read anymore. I'm just gonna quickly clean off the smudginess on my glasses. Alright. Pull the cork stopper out of the top. Spitting the cork into the grass, she lifted the vial into her lips and spat. The minute her saliva touched the liquid within, it began to glow red as well, although not as strongly as Firestreak's vial was glowing. Well, that's not good, Highwind muttered as Spitfire began to rub out her tongue with a hoof, although it does explain things. Damn. Wait, it doesn't affect you. It doesn't affect the ponies, does it? It only affects the equestrian humans. It was in my mouth, Spitfire whined. Wait, hold on, Fleetfoot said uneasily. As she glanced around at the sea of vines, her ears played back. Are you telling me that all these vines contain the spores? No, not the rope-like vines, he said with a shake of his head. Just these things. He gave the dead spider plant thing a good kick, unintentionally causing a puff of spores to be released. Backpedaling quickly to avoid the cloud, he continued. They have special pouches in them that contain the spores. It looks like we finally have a source for the virus. Yay, said Spitfire sarcastically. Perfect timing for these things to appear. Just what we needed. More stuff added onto our plate. Ugh! Rubbing her temples with her hoof, she glanced around. Does any pony know where the nearest large source of human is? The earth pony. The earth pony. Oh no, fuck. Granny Smith and Big Mac are gonna get fucked. Fuck. So, the earth pony fleece said, waving her hoof as she stepped out from behind the zebra. I know this one. That'll be Sweet Apple Acres, my family's farm. Of course, it'll be a farm, Spitfire muttered. Alright, we should probably head over there and make sure that none of these things are there affecting the humans. The last thing we need is an infected human outbreak, along with all these mother-bucking vines. I thought we were trying to figure out how to stop the vines, Lightning Streak said. At the moment, I'm more concerned about infected humans, Spitfire answered. Lightning Streak scrunched up his nose. The spore carriers don't appear to be leaving the forest. I don't think we need to worry about them infecting humans in town, just any that wander too close to the forest. If there's any chance of an infected human outbreak, we need to prevent it, Highwinds huffed. The faster we stop the vines, the faster the threat is eliminated. And if we can't find a way to stop them, what then? Stop it, you two, Surprise shouted. She motioned towards the zebra and the fillies. You're scaring the foals. Hey, wait a minute, Fleetfoot hummed. Her eyes narrowed as she glanced over the zebra and two fleas who were hiding behind her legs, watching the Pegasi bigger. Weren't there four of you? Where's the unicorn? Wait, Sweetie Belle, don't be a hero. Don't be a hero. Yeah, Sweetie Belle was Zecora a minute ago. Don't be a hero, sweetie. Don't get yourself fucking hurt. The two fillies blinked before their eyes widened and they glanced around. Hey, yeah! The filly yelped. Where's Sweetie Belle? Oh my god, Sweetie Belle. You freaking had Why are you going to... Where are you going? This is my question. Where are you going? Oh, no. You've already been a victim of one of these attacks. You don't need you to be again. I'm so sad now. Racing under and around the tangled conglomeration of vines, Sudabel raced through the streets of Ponyville, tears streaming down her cheeks as she ducked, weaved, and leapt over obstacles. Her head was on a constant swivel as she tried to minimize the impact of the blind spot her sightless eye caused. As she ran, she passed by many ponies that were in various states of distress. Some were running from the vines, others were huddled under carts and behind barrels, while even more had already been captured by the blackened creepers and were now calling for help. Her eyes folded back against her head as she tried to block out their cries. Reaching the edge of the marketplace, she took a hard turn, only to almost collapse when her back right leg, the one with the limp, nearly buckled underneath her. Barely keeping her balance, she raced through the abandoned stalls as quickly as her little legs would allow her. The world around her was blurred as she ran faster than she had ever run in her life. But in her opinion, still wasn't fast enough. Not fast enough to escape what was coming. Not fast enough to run from what the Pegasus had said the vines had contained. Not fast enough to run from it. Her little chest heaved as she took in great gulps of air. Her sides burned, pain racing up and down her body, especially her flank and face. It wasn't from running, though. In fact, the pain wasn't even real. It existed in her mind, only as a memory, but that was enough for her. It was more than enough for her. A memory of the most terrifying day of her life. The creature loomed over her as its sick, glowing eyes glared down upon her through the gloom. Black tendril-like protrusions covered the human's face, climbing up its forehead before disappearing into the tangled mess that used to be her hair. She tried to get away, but the thing just clamped down on her back leg harder. Its cracked fingernails dug cruelly into her flank, drawing blood, and dragged her across the ground, pulling her closer and closer. She screamed, scrambling to get away, but it was no use. The thing was too strong. She could hear her friends in the distance shouting and crying for her to run. Every so often, a small stone would impact the thing's chest as one of them tried to distract it, but it paid them no mind. For off in town, the bells were clanging loudly. Sweetie. It reached out its other hand, a large bite mark clear on the lower arm, and grabbed Sweetie by the back of the neck, lifting her bodily into the air. Sweetie screamed as well. As all her weight fell on her mane and right back leg, something in her leg popped, sending blinding pain racing up the now limp limb. Ignoring her screams, the infected human lifted her closer to its face. Its mouth fell open, a wheezing gasp escaping its cracked lips, accompanied by a cloud of black mist. Cracked teeth glinted in the gloom, a black, dry tongue waggling back and forth as the human leaned down and sunk its teeth into the flesh of her flank. Sweetie shrieked as the teeth tore into her leg. Her entire body jerked, causing the part of her mane that the human was holding to be ripped from her scalp. She fell forward, now dangling in the air by her back leg. Blood poured down her leg and body, cascading like a crimson waterfall. The human thrashed about, grabbing blindly at its prey that was trying to escape. It scratched and tore at her sides until its free hand finally grabbed her face. Sweetie screamed again as one of the fingers dug into her right eye. A few seconds passed before blood began to flow from the ruined socket. The pain and terror grew too much for her, and Sweetie felt herself beginning to lose consciousness. The last thing she saw before darkness claimed her was a streak of gray and blonde fur descending from the heavens like a thunderbolt. She was unceremoniously flung from the infected human's grasp as a newcomer impacted it from above, and she knew no more. Gray and blonde. Was that Derpy? Derpy saving the day unintentionally? That's our girl right there. That's our Ditzy. Our Derpy. I feel so bad for her. Since that day, just the memory alone of the affected human was enough to send Sudibel into a panic. The sight of humans, affected or not, would send her running and crying. It hadn't been until she had met Max that she slowly started to get over her anthropophobia. She could actually get into Apple Bloom's farm again without having a panic attack. She didn't have to take the long way home to avoid the pound and guard station. She didn't have to run and find Rarity whenever she encountered some pony walking their human. She finally had her life back, but according to those loud Pegasi in their weird jumpsuits, it may be taken away from her again. No. Tears still streaming down her cheeks, Sweetie's eyes narrowed. No. The phantom pain in her sides began to fade, pushed back by the fury determination within the within her. No. Lowering her head, the tiny unicorn put on an extra burst of speed. Not again. Not anymore. No, no, no. As Sweetie skidded around another corner, her destination came into view. Making a beeline for the building, she all but threw herself at the door, which flew open with a loud bang. It hit the inside wall and ricocheted back, but Sweetie didn't care. She was already racing up the winding staircase, taking the steps two at a time. Around and around she went, her pace never slowing until she finally reached the top, puffing like a forge below. She staggered slightly before throwing herself forward onto the rope. With a strangled cry, she pulled with all her might. Okay, bell sounds. Boom, boom, boom. Or ding, ding, ding. High above her within the bell tower, the warning bells boomed over their message, the sound echoing across the countryside for all to hear. Over fen and field, over glen and glade, over hill and brook, the message rang out. Ding, ding, and ding. As the bells tolled, below Sweetie Belle added her voice to the chorus, a constant sobbing chant. No more, no more, no more. Though her legs burned and her muscles screamed, she continued to pull upon the rope with vim and vigor. She would not let her life fall apart again. She would not let somebody else suffer as she had suffered. She would warn them all, no matter what. Aw, sweetie. Sweetie just trying to make sure everybody's safe. That's adorable. And so, with tears in her eyes and a fire in her chest, Sweetie Belle continued to heave on the rope. Far above, the bells continued to toll. Ding, ding, ding. What does that filly think she's doing? Fleetfoot asked, staring at the bell tower in the distance. She scrunched up her face, her ear flicked in time with the tolling bells. That's not gonna accomplish anything but cause more panic. No, Spitfire said, her eyes lighting up. No, that filly has the right idea, Firestreak blazed. Both ponies saluted as she turned to look at them. Fly as fast as you can to Oakvale and get their bells ringing as well. I don't care if the vines are there or not. They need to be prepared, Lightning Streak. Soren, the two bags stiffened as she pointed at them. You two take Dodge City and do the same. The more ponies we can warn, the better. Got it? All four nodded in unison. Then what the buck are you still doing here? Get moving! Four blurs of color exploded into the air. Two headed west towards Whitetail Woods, while the other two shot off south over the Everfree Forest. Spitz, care to explain? Fleetfoot asked, cocking an eyebrow. What do those bells signal? Spitfire asked, pointing a hoof at the bell tower. What do they warn of? Fleetfoot cocked her head to the side. Infected humans, but I don't see how. When those bells toll, what do most ponies do with their humans? Spitfire asked, interrupting her. Fleetfoot gave her a blank stare, but beside her, Surprise's eyes lit up. Oh, she gasped. They secure them, lock them up, get them out of the open and away from potential infection. Precisely, Spitfire said. And the less humans out and about, the lower the chances of infected humans. Popping up, it might be a perfect solution, but hopefully it buys us enough time to deal with these things. She kicked one of the vines, causing it to twitch. What's the plan then? Missy Fly asked. Spitfire stared off into the distance for a brief moment, her eyes narrowing. Before she turned to Highwinds, take the zebra and fillies into town and find a safe place for them to take shelter. Once that's done, see what you can do around town to help out. Got it? Highwinds nodded before motioning for the trio to follow. As the zebra and her cart, now with two fillies sitting on top of the stuff, trundled off towards the town, Fleetfoot asked, and what are we doing? Simple, Spitfire said as she set her gaze on the Everfree. Reaching up, she pulled her goggles down over her eyes. We're gonna follow these vines to the source. Okay, author's note. Well, here we are. 6,000 likes. Hard to believe it. More people have liked this story than live in my hometown. Who could have believed when it was first posted that this story would turn out like this? How many of you are still here since the very beginning? How many have we lost, and how many have we gained? Oh hell, back to writing. We are nearing the end of the story after all. Yeah, the end of the story. I don't really want it to end. Please, author, don't let it end. Anyways, 30 minutes. Fuck that. Part 2 of this story. Let's go. Chapter 66. Princess Twilight Sparkle. Part 2. Just hopping straight into it. Jack Mayfield was not having a good day, night, whatever it was hard to tell what time it was at the moment, as both the moon and the sun were in the sky together at the same time in some perverse sort of twilight. The solar eclipse that had happened earlier had been quite interesting, however, but that was beside the point. Wait, so these humans that are in the lab right now, what are present? Whatever time of day it was, Jack was not having a good time. Wiping the sweat from his brow, Jack glanced nervously up at the ceiling. The entire structure he and Drew called their sanctuary was still being consumed by black vines that appeared out of nowhere. The weight of all the intruding creepers was slowly beginning to cause the ceilings of several of the rooms to collapse. Thankfully, those rooms didn't have anything important in them, but it was only a matter of time before one of the more important rooms was destroyed. Like the room that two humans were currently occupying, for example. Fearing for their lives and in an attempt to drive back the vines, the humans had begun constructing something with which to save themselves. Already the skeleton of said device was taking shape, but they needed a little more time and no distractions. It had all been going fine until they had shown up. Are they still there? Jack asked, glancing up from the contraption. Drew huffed loudly and rubbed his eyes. What do you think, dude? He pointed at the inner window. Of course they're still out there. You think they're gonna go away just because we're ignoring them? Ain't gonna happen. That zebra's stuck around for this long. Jack glanced over at the window as well, through which he could see this weird zebra. Though as of 15 minutes ago, the zebra wasn't the weirdest thing in the hallway anymore. The title was now reserved for the 4 Pegasi in blue and yellow jumpsuits that had shown up out of the blue. One of them, a Pegasus with flame-like hair, appeared to be the leader. Her suit was ripped and torn, exposing her yellow fur in several places. Even as Jack watched, she continued to argue with the zebra. At least Jack assumed they were arguing. He could only hear the zebra's side of the conversation. The Pegasi just hovered there, nickering loudly as she waved her forelegs about wildly. What? You think this is my fault? The zebra asked, placing a hoof on his chest. I assure you, I had nothing to do with this. The Pegasi nickered again before jabbing a hoof at a nearby cluster of vines. Yes, I can see. Okay, fuck. Yes, I can see the vines. The zebra huffed to roll over his eyes. However, I am not responsible for them. A hoof was pointed towards the humans still watching through the window. The zebra shook his head. No, they aren't a part of this either. The Pegasus snorted and crossed her forelegs, giving the zebra a look of disbelief. In case you can't tell, the zebra said, the vines are consuming their building as well. Do you really think that if they cause this outbreak, they'd allow the vines to destroy their only source of shelter within the forest? The flame-haired Pegasus grunted before looking over his shoulder and saying something to one of the Pegasi, a beige-coated one with light blue hair. It nodded before turning and zipping off into the sky. As it flew off, another Pegasus, this one with a poofy yellow mane, said something to the zebra. Only receiving the critic's look. Excuse me, he said. That's... First of all, do you realize how racist that is? And secondly, let's hear you come up with rhymes on the spot. Shaking his head, Jack blocked the conversation and instead returned his attention back to the device he was supposed to be working on. He fiddled with it for a second before grabbing a long rubber hose. As he was hooking one of the ends of the hose up to a custom-made valve... As he was hooking one of the ends of the hose up to a custom-made valve, Drew loomed in. So this will work, right? Most likely, Jack replied, not glancing up. There's a good chance that it will work as intended. I'm sensing a butt coming, Drew muttered. Jack paused and shoot on the side of his cheek. It might also explode as well, he said motionlessly before returning to his tinkering. Oh, well, yeah, Drew said, leaning back. Great, just great. Might explode, that's awesome. Just one question, though. When were you going to tell me this? As I said, it might. It's very unlikely to happen, though. But it might. I don't want to go up in a ball of fire and light. Well, too bad you're going to go, Drew. I don't give a fuck about you. I don't even care about you. You two are probably just brought here by Discord. Fuck him. I don't give a shit. Only person that I care about that know is a Terran human in this world is Max. Okay, so fuck all of you. Probably a little bit mean to say. Don't care. I am pissed at the other ones. Then you better not distract me, Jack huffed. The more you interrupt me, the more likely it is to be currently as... The more likely it is... Okay, fuck. Then you'd better not distract me, Jack huffed. The more you interrupt me, the more likely it is to not be correctly assembled. Grumbling to himself, Drew leaned back in the chair and crossed his arms. The pair lapsed into silence, one working and the other watching. In the background, the Pegasi and the zebra continued to argue. Back to Twilight. And the girls, to be honest. Now, my first question is, why is this called Princess Twilight Sparkle? That's my first question. Okay. Twilight's perspective. I probably already said that. Don't really know. Twilight winced as the chariot jerked up upon touching down, jostling its occupants. Geez, Dash, be careful. Some of us aren't exactly in perfect health back here. She rubbed her injured leg before gingerly hopping out of the chariot. Oh, come on, Sparkle, Rainbow scoffed. The sooner we get there, the sooner we can kick some flink, right? Except there are no flinks to kick, as there were, Rarity sniffed, as she stepped off the back of the chariot as well. We were here to solve the vine problem. Rainbow, not get in a fight, patting at her frizzy mane to try and get it back in order. She huffed in annoyance. And as much as I like to get Ponyville back to normal, I agree with Twilight. You could have taken it a tad slower. I wasn't going that fast, Rainbow said, rolling her eyes. Fluttershy was even able to keep up with me, though it felt like I was doing most of the work, she added under her breath. That's because she's been clinging to the chariot ever since we took off, Applejack deadpan, pointing over her shoulder. Sure enough, a trembling ball of yellow fur and feathers was attached to the front of the chariot with such a grip that the metal was dented in places. Rainbow paused in removing the harness. Huh? I hadn't even noticed. Come on, Sugar Cube, Applejack said softly as she attempted to pull Fluttershy off the chariot. We're on the ground. You can let go now. Wait, where's Pinky? Rainbow asked, now free from the chariot's harness. She glanced around. Did she go on ahead? I'm afraid not, dear. She fell out halfway here, Rainbow said nonchalantly. Wait, what? She fell out? Halfway here, Rarity said nonchalantly, studying her reflection in a small mirror. She conjured from somewhere. Satisfied with how she looked, she finished the mirror before glancing at Rainbow, who was gasping at her with a look of disbelief. I told you, darling, you were going a little too fast. But what? Rainbow stuttered out. Why didn't anybody say anything? Because she looked like she was having fun, Rarity said with a shrug. Oh, that's Pinky. Yeah, that's Pinky. That is definitely Pinky. I think I see her, Twilight said, shading her eyes with hoof. She squinted slightly. Yeah, that's definitely her. The others glanced up, as was. The faint sound of laughter reached her ears. Pinky was gliding down to the ground gently, hanging beneath a large square of cloth that emerged from a small pack on her back. Rainbow stared with wide eyes. Where did you get a parachute? She borrowed it from one of the lunar guards before we left, Twilight said, making quotes with only one forehoof. As other was busy keeping her steady. I think she purposely fell out just for an excuse to use it. Why else would she have wanted it in the first place? Twilight. While they had been talking, Pinky had drifted closer. When she was about 10 feet off the ground, she unclipped the parachute. There was cries of surprise as she dropped through the air, only to hit the ground and roll, coming to a stop in a kneeling position with a water pistol held in her forehooves. Alright, she said, suddenly adorned in camouflage clothing. Let's do this. Swiveling around, she pointed at the water pistol in several random directions before giving it a spin and tucking it into a holster on her hip. Sergeant Pinky has arrived to defeat the evil Viney Menace. I'm here to kick, flank, and eat cupcakes, and I'm all out of cupcakes. Pinky dear, I don't think now's the best time for playing around, Rarity said. Ah, Pinky whined, falling onto her flank with a soft thump. But I just finished making the character. She crossed her forelegs and pouted. I wrote all those stats for nothing. Everybody's right, Pinky, Twilight chided. Let's take care of the vines first. You can play all you want afterwards. Pinky nodded before stripping out of the camouflage, balling it up. She tossed it over her shoulder and into a nearby bush. Right, Applejack said as she walked up, Fluttershy now attached to her neck and shoulders. Now we just gotta figure out where to aim these bad boys. She tapped her partially hidden element so that we can keep the rest of Equestria from becoming plant food. As one of the group turned to stare at the Everfree, the trees were choked in vines to the point where one could barely see any bark amidst the sea of blackened creepers. Anybody know where to start? Applejack asked. When no answer came, Twilight sighed heavily. Twilight's injured. I don't like that Twilight's injured. I don't like that Twilight's injured here. Like, come on, please. I guess we better get moving, she said. We can start at the castle of the Pony Sisters and work from there. Twilight! A shout from the distance interrupted Twilight's planning. Glancing over her shoulder, her eyes widened on the sight of a small blob of green and purple bobbing through the sea of vines. Spike! Huffing and puffing, the little dragon scampered up before jumping up and clinging to Twilight's neck. She lifted a foreleg and awkwardly returned the hug, while also nuzzling the top of his head. Spike! Thank the maker you're alright, Twilight said at the exact same time the Spike cried. Twilight, thank goodness you're here. Everything's going crazy. Pulling himself up onto her back, Spike began to wildly wave his arms about. The sky went all crazy with the night and day and night, and then the moon was all red, and then Canterlot looked messed up, and then all these vines came out of nowhere. He tugged on his vines. What's going on? It's a long story, Spike, Twilight said, straightening up. I'll explain more later. Once we've taken care of the vines, this squirrel wasn't involved, though. Spike nodded. Say no more, he paused. Twilight? Yes, Spike? Why do you have a collar on? He asked, pointing to the black collar currently around her neck. Well, you see... And where's Max? Twilight's ears splayed off to the side, and she glanced away. I'll tell you later, she muttered in a shaky voice. The sound of a throat being cleared caught their attention. Not to butt in on this, we already said. But Spiky, dear, you wouldn't have happened to see Sweetie Bow recently, have you? Beside her, Applejack's ears perked up. Oh, shit. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, Spike said. I saw her a while ago. Her Apple Bloom and Scootaloo and Sakura were escorted into town hall by one of the Wonderbolts. That's where every pony is heading to hide from the vines. A bunch of the guards managed to clear out most of the vines, so it's currently the safest place in Ponyville at the moment. I was there until I saw your chariot fly by overhead. Both Applejack and Rarity breathed twin sighs of relief. Wait, Rainbow cried, picking up. The Wonderbolts are here? Well, not right now, she said, Spike said, rubbing the back of his head. They were here earlier trying to help out, but I'm not sure where they went. I'm happy you, fuck. Yeah, why does, like, I know, like, Twilight's, like, in despair and shit about Max and shit, but why is she wearing it? His collar, to be exact. Okay, so I'm happy you're alright, Spike, Twilight said, but you should have stayed in town hall where it's safe. But what about you? Spike asked. We're gonna go teach these vines a lesson for messing with Ponyville, Rainbow said, jabbing her hoof into the air. We're gonna kick some flink. I already told you, Dash. There are no flanks to kick, Rarity sighed, rubbing her head with a hoof. I'm going with you, Spike cried, clinging to Twilight's neck. Spike, no, Twilight said, twisting her neck to try and look at him. You're going back to town hall to where it's safe. Spike shook his head before burying himself into her mane. No, I'm staying with you. Spike, I can use my fire against vines. That's how I got through them before. It really works, Twilight, I swear. Actually, Twilight, Rarity piped up, as much as I know you don't want to hear it, and that might be useful. Rarity, I'm just saying, darling, there are a lot of vines between us and where we need to go. See, I can help. Spike! Yeah, Twilight doesn't want this to happen. What? I can. No, Twilight said, stopping her hoof. We don't have time for this, Spike. You are going back to town hall, and that's fine. Princess Sparkle? What? Whipping her head around, Twilight's eye twitched. The Wonderball, currently hovering in the air behind her, raised a hoof in defense, her ears playing back. Sorry, Your Highness. I didn't mean to interrupt your discussion. An ashamed look crossed Twilight's face, and she blushed. No, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell like that. Yeah, you are under a lot of distress and shit, Twilight. The roundabout gave her an uncertain look before attentively nodding her head. Hey, Misty Fly, Rainbow called out. What are you doing here? Where are the others? This caused the Wonderball to squint at her. Dash? What? She paused before shaking her head. Never mind. When the vines started consuming Ponyville, Spits went about trying to find a way to stop them. Whatever they are, though, is magical in origin, so we follow them to their source. She pointed into the Everfree Forest. That's where the rest of the team is right now. I was sent back to find reinforcements. Well, you found them, Rainbow asked, puffing out her chest. Behind her goggles, Misty Fly blinked. You? She asked incredulously. What are you? Her gaze landed on the necklace currently glinting around Rainbow's neck, and her eyes widened. Oh, you're the reinforcements. Reaching up, she stabbed her forehead with a hoof. Should have known it was something like that. Nightmare Moon, Discord. Should have known it was something like that. Nightmare Moon, Discord. The changeling. It's always you 6, isn't it? With a sigh, she shook her head. Alright, this works. I can take you to the captain, and then you all can take care of this. She turned to head back towards Everfree, but was stopped by Twilight. Actually, before we go, can you take Spike here back to town hall? She asked, turning to the set to reveal the partially hidden dragon. As a baby dragon, he really shouldn't be going with us. Aw, come on, Twilight, Spike huffed. You always leave me behind. That's because I don't want you to get hurt, Twilight shot back before returning her attention to Misty Fly. So if you could. Sorry, Your Highness, but there's no time, Misty Fly said, shaking her head. We have to go now. Twilight blinked, but it would only take a second. Princess, not to be rude, but we don't have seconds to spare, Misty Fly said. During our reconnaissance of the area, we discovered that the vines have a flower-like part to them. That is the source of the black vine virus. Can't you hear the bells? She asked, waving a hoof towards town. Sure enough, the faint sound of tolling bells could be heard if one listened hard enough. The longer we take to get rid of them, the more likely it is that we'll be dealing with a massive outbreak of affected humans. The vines are spreading. We need to take care of this now. Damn. You just gotta get wrecked by... You just got wrecked by... I don't know, a Wonderbolt that knows how to take care of it. Twilight's in distress. I understand that. And she doesn't want anybody in her life to get hurt anymore that can't take care of themselves. I don't know. I'm so freaking mad. And this is probably just going to be about Twilight and her little feelings right now. Eyes wide and ears playing back, Twilight stared up at her in shock. The black vine virus, she swallowed before nodding weakly. You're right. That's definitely more important. Turning her head, she eyed Spike warily. Alright, you can come with, Spike's suspicion brightened. But, she continued, you should just stay close to me the whole time, got it? Spike nodded furiously before taking a seat on Twilight's back. With a sigh, Twilight turned back to Misty Fly. Lead the way, if you'd please. With a flutter of wings, Misty Fly threw a salute. Right this way, princess, she said. I'll take you to the captain, recruit. Okay, what? Right this way, princess, she said. I'll take you to the captain, recruit. Rainbow Dash snapped to attention. You're up here with me. Help me find a safe path for the ground walkers. We don't need any of them getting hurt on the way to the objective. Rainbow threw a salute of her own before taking a flight. With the two Pegasi in front, the group began to make its way cautiously towards the Everfree and what was waiting within. Oh, goddamn, man. Wait, so is Rainbow recruit at this moment in time for the Wonderbolt nonsense? When did Rainbow become a Wonderball recruit? Okay, now I'm just going... No, that's okay. This is season 4, episode 1-ish. Alright. Oh, thanks, Celestia, Rarity gasped, breathing heavily. It seems to have stopped chasing us around Around her, the others were in a similar state, sweaty and out of breath and covered in various scratches and mud. I've got to lay off the sweeties. The sweets. The sweeties. Sweets. Okay, I'll go with sweets. Pinky groaned, flopping unceremoniously on the ground. I thought crocodiles were supposed to be slow. Applejack grunted. She took a deep breath before casting a glare upwards. And I thought that y'all were supposed to be finding us a safe path through the forest. Well, sorry, Rainbow huffed, holding her forelegs. It's kind of hard to see a crocodile, especially when it's submerged in mud. Besides, you all handle it. You all handle it just fine. Also, crocodile, it's spelled so wrong in the sentence. That's beside the point, Twilight snapped. Not all of us can just fly to safety, Dash. She was in the worst shape out of all of them. Her eyes were bloodshot, dried blood kicking the corners as well as edges of her nostrils. She limped along on 3 legs, her injured leg held up close to her body. Why didn't you just use your magic on it, then? Rainbow asked. Twilight's eyes twitched. Because I'm running on empty, she shrieked, only to double over in a coughing fit. A moment later, specks of blood fell to the ground as the red fluid began to tweak from her nose again. On her back, Spike gave an alarmed shout. Twilight! I'm fine, she gasped. I'm fine, she said again as a worried Fluttershy approached with a wadded up kerchief in her mouth. Taking a deep breath, she gagged before spitting a red wad of saliva onto the ground. She stared at it for a few seconds before her ears played back. I'm not fine, she muttered under her breath. A worried look flashed across Rainbow's face, her earlier bravado forgotten. Jeez, Twilight, I didn't realize you were in that bad of shape. Why didn't you say something? Rainbow, she's been through a lot today. Fuck you if you ever realized that. Fuck. It's nothing, Twilight said quickly. I'm just gonna. We need to deal with this. We need to deal with all this first. She motioned around the vines, almost falling over in the process. Spike barely grabbed on in time to stop himself tumbling off. And then you can worry about me. I don't know, Twilight, Applejack said as she approached. You ain't look so hot right now, and well, who knows what else is gonna come after us. You know, maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea for you to go back to Ponyville and rest. Damn it! I hated when they did this. I hate it when they did this in the show, and I'm hating if they're doing it. I hate when they do this. To be fair though, Twilight in this story, she is in the worst condition possible. She literally has like her. I'm not sure what leg it was. It was one of her hind legs has like a cast or something on it. God damn it, Applejack. Why is it always you that just gonna send whatever said? Like, I understand it. I didn't understand this in the show. Like, in the show, I didn't understand it. But here, I understand more because she's injured as fuck. Fuck. Anyways. Twilight turned to her and gave her a sharp look. What? Why? Well, seeing as you're injured and all, Applejack said, biting her lip. You're all injured too, Twilight huffed, marching around at the others and the dozens of scratches they had received running through the trees to escape the crocodile. Yep, but not as bad as you. Injured or not, you're gonna need me, Applejack, Twilight said. She tapped the crown currently resting on her head. Or have you forgotten the plan? Applejack glanced away, her ears playing off to the side. It's just, yeah, being a princess, I know. Yeah, this is why I hate Applejack. Doesn't matter if she's a princess. She is a part of you guys. She is a part of the team here, okay? This is making me mad. Exactly, Twilight grunted before spitting out another word of bloody saliva. Glancing around, she accepted the proffered kerchief from Fluttershy and dabbed it at the corners of her mouth. Once she was done, she tucked the kerchief into the black collar, started around her neck before turning back to Applejack. As a princess, I'm saying that I'm fine, and that's final, she said. But that's final. Now where's Misty Flay? As if on cue, a loud thunderclap echoed around the forest, followed by a pained howl. Another thunderclap sounded, and the howling ceased. Silence falling over the forest again. A few seconds later, the wonder boats fluttered into view. That takes care of that, she said, brushing her hooves together. Now, is everybody okay? Yes, Twilight answered quickly. No, Applejack said shortly after, earning her a glare from Twilight. Yes, Twilight said again, this time slower from her back. Spike glanced at the wonder boat before silently shaking his head no. Are you kidding me, Spike? How'd you just betray her like that? How do you just betray her like that? God damn it. Misty Fly glanced confusedly between the two before her gaze slowly drifted down to Twilight's injured leg, still held up close to her body. Her eyes widened slightly before she looked upon and glanced around at the darkened skies. Without saying a word, she flew off, only to return a moment later with a medium-sized cloud in her hooves. She pushed it down in front of Twilight. Oh, that's better. If, like, she gets on the cloud and just rests for a while, that's good. And she will just be pushing her. Nice thinking. Get on, she said. Twilight blinked. What? Get on, Misty Fly repeated, motioning towards the cloud with a nod of her head. I don't need... Your Majesty, we still have some ways to go, Misty Fly interrupted. You aren't going to be able to go too fast with your injured legs. She nodded to the cloud again. Think of it as a makeshift gurney, Pegasi style. Come on, Twilight, Spike said softly from her back. You need this. Twilight eyed the cloud for a moment, nibbling on her bottom lip before saying, "Alright." She stepped onto the cloud, careful to not dislodge Spike from her back. Before settling down, her injured leg jutted out at a weird angle. When she was comfortable, she glanced around. How am I supposed to move? Misty Flick cocked her head to the side. Can you use your wings? Twilight blinked before giving her wings an experimental flap. The cloud floated forward a foot or so, but Twilight winced in pain. They're a little sore. I think I can manage, though. Okay, Twilight, my question is... I don't know. I don't know what to... Like, soar... What do your wings soar from? Like, you barely even use them in anything. Like, come on. You barely use them, Twilight. Anyways, Missy Fly shook her head before glancing up. Recruit! Rainbow perked up before floating down. Yeah? Escort the princess here, Missy Fly said, motioning towards Twilight. You get her to the destination, and you get there safe and sound. Got it? She put an extra emphasis on the word safe, and gave Rainbow a hard look. Rainbow cast a look at Twilight before nodding her head. Yes, ma'am, she said, giving her a salute before moving around to hover behind Twilight. Well, no shit, you gotta bring her safe. She's your friend, after all, Rainbow. You gotta bring her safe, no matter what. And if you don't, you're gonna blame yourself again like you did with Max. Twilight opened her mouth to protest, but stopped. Instead, she lowered her head and stared at the cloud in front of her. Truthfully, her entire body hurt, and it felt good to be off of her hooves. The once white bandages that the healers had put on them were now covered in mud and twigs. Her head was pounding, her muscles were stiff, and she felt like she was about ready to collapse at a moment's notice. The only thing that had been keeping her going was adrenaline, which had run out as soon as they had escaped from the crocodile. She was running on empty, both magically and physically. Damn. She remained silent as Rainbow placed her hooves on either side of the cloud around her flank. With a small shove, she began to gently push her injured friend forward. The others followed, quickly taking up arbitrary positions on the cloud. Misty Fly took to the air again, flying ahead to scout out the path. They walked in silence, with only the sound of sticks breaking under their hooves, and Rainbow's wing beats filling the air. Upon Twilight's back, Spike did his best to help, massaging the tense muscles in her shoulders and back. He was no masseur, but it was better than nothing, and Twilight cooed softly under his ministrations. Every few minutes, Misty Fly would have them stop as she glanced around the forest, her ears perked. After a few seconds of nothing happening, they would begin moving again. They encountered only a small group of spider plant vines, which were quickly driven off by combined assault of Misty Fly's lightning strikes and Spike's dragonfire. Twilight had lost track of long they had been traveling for, but eventually Misty Fly paused again and let out a small whoop. I recognize where we are, she said. Our destination is just ahead. Come on. She flitted ahead quickly, though she made sure to remain within sight. Not within Twilight, within sight. That sounds bad. As we moved forward, Twilight raised her head and glanced back at Rainbow. Thanks, Dash, she said softly. Rainbow gave her a blink look before cracking a weak grin. Any time, Twilight. I wouldn't leave you hanging. Oh, shut up. A few minutes later, the group emerged from the tree line, only to gasp in surprise. Before them, a large, narrow ravine opened up. Vines snarked forth from the depths of the ravine, twisting and turning the way into the trees. Although, also on the edge of the ravine was a large crumbling structure that looked like someone had ripped part of a building out and threw it down in the middle of the forest. Vines shook the building, hiding most of it from view. From what little she could see, though Twilight could tell the building wasn't designed by ponies. As they stared at the structure in wonder and confusion, Misty Fly put her hooves into her lips and let loose a shrill whistle. Oi, Spiss, she called, waving a hoof. It was then that Twilight noticed a small group of equines gathered around a hole in the building. 3 of them were dressed in wonderbolt jumpsuits, while fourth, a zebra stallion, had a simple desert bandana around his neck. Misty Fly's cry. One of the Wonderbolts glanced up. Twilight instantly recognized Spitfire, having met the Wonderbolt captain several times before. Misty Fly, you're back faster than I thought, Spitfire called out as the group approached. Yeah, I got lucky, Misty Fly said, pointing back at her entourage. Spitfire's eyes widened upon seeing the elements before she scowled and cursed under her breath. It's one of those problems, isn't it? I don't have the exact details, but it seems that way, Misty Fly replied. What is it this time? Spitfire asked, turning to Twilight. An evil spirit within the forest, an ancient foe of the princesses is returning. Discord, Twilight deadpan. Spitfire gave her a blank look before throwing her hooves in the air. Oh, come on, you can't do that. That's like cheating, right? He's already been taken care of once. Well, he's at it again, Twilight sighed. She glanced over at the building. So what's going on here? I'm not entirely sure, Spitfire said, crossing her forelegs. We tracked the vines back to this ravine, and after some investigation, we discovered this building here has, as well as its occupants, humans, Spitfire said. Intelligent humans, anomaly level, if the zebra is to be believed, although we can't get a closer look due to the vines being blocking the entrance. Twilight's eyes widened. What? Wait, more Terran humans here? It was Spitfire's turn to blink. More? Yeah, Twilight said, nodding absentmindedly as she stared at the building. It's a long story, but the short of it is Discord brought a large number of them here, and due to the fact that we can't understand each other, they attacked Canterlot Castle in an attempt to overthrow the princesses. While she had been talking, the other Wonderbolts had gathered around, each with varying degrees of bewilderment on their faces. Why would they want to do that? Surprise asked. Because they thought that we were enslaving the Equestrian humans with magic, Twilight explained. The attack was some form of misguided revolt in order to free them from our control. That's stupid, Fleetfoot scoffed. What would be the point of that? Why waste magical energy enslaving the species of dumb animals when you can just train them? I mean, just a few minutes alone with an Equestrian human should have been enough to show them that they're nothing but mindless beasts. What? She asked upon seeing the strained look that the elements shared between themselves. What? She asked again, squinching up her face. The Equestrian humans are kind of intelligent as well, Twilight said, rubbing the back of her head. The Wonderbolts gave her a look of disbelief. You're joking, right? Fleetfoot said. You're pulling out her legs. Unfortunately, no, Twilight said. It seems that something has been increasing the intelligence of the Equestrian humans. Or at least that's what I've been told. She rubbed her temples with hoof. That's another headache in the making. It's going to be a nightmare to sort everything all out at once when this is over. Right, Spitfire said. Let's focus on the vines first. Sticking to the air, she headed towards the ravine, motioning for the elements to follow her. As they gathered around the edge, Spitfire pointed a hoof downwards. Now, I'm not entirely sure, but I'd bet quite a lot of bits that you need to take care of this down here. Take care of is down here, down there. Of this down there. Take care of this down there. I'm not. Typos, man, they're annoying. Upon glancing into the ravine, it was clear what Spitfire was talking about. Carved into one of the cliff walls was a cave whose entrance was choked with vines. Around the mouth of the cave, vines burst from the earth, digging their way up the cliffside towards the top of the ravine. Through the mess of black creepers, a pale blue light shone from within the depths of the cave. It was barely visible, so much so that if Twilight turned her head just right, she could mistake the glow of for moonlight. Well, I think that's pretty definitive. We've found the source of the vines, Rady said. Yeah, but how are we supposed to get to it? Applejack asked. Duh, that's easy, Pinky tripped. Take the stairs, silly. True to her words, there was a staircase carved into the wall of the ravine, running down towards the cave. The steps were narrow, and if that wasn't dangerous enough, they were completely covered in vines. Damn, no, man. I ain't going down that, Applejack said, peering down at the stairs. All those vines, that's not gonna end up well for any pony. One twisted ankle, one misplaced step, and it's a neck-breaking tumble downwards. Twilight turned to Spitfire. Do you know what the glow is all about? Nope, came the reply. None of us even attempted to go down there. Oh, come on, this is easy, Rainbow said, puffing her chest out. I'll go check it out and back within 10 seconds, and Fluttershy and I can carry you all down. She made it to take off, but was stopped by Spitfire, who stepped down on her tail hard. Before you go rushing in, recruit, check the ravine again, she growled. Along with her friends, Twilight peered back into the room. She squinted, trying to see into the gloom. The darkness must have been playing tricks on her eyes, though, as the shadows seemed to twist and writhe them almost as if they were alive. Wait a minute, Twilight muttered under her breath. Leaning forward on her cloud, she stared into the darkness, only to blanch a second later when she finally realized what she was seeing. It wasn't the shadows that were moving. Hundreds of spider plants slithered about the ravine floor, twisting and slithering over each other in the writhing mass of vines. A dark haze drifted across the ground, and it took Twilight a few seconds to realize that it wasn't fog, but black virus spores. The spider plants snapped and puffed, continuing to send clouds of black spores wafting into the air. Beside her, Applejack swallowed thickly. Is that... A cloud of black vine virus spores. Spitfire finished while cocking an eyebrow. Yes, yes it is. Albrecht's ears splayed off into the side and she pawed nervously at the ground before stepping back from the ravine's edge. I don't know about y'all, but as a human rancher, that's making my anxiety rise. How are we supposed to get through that? Rarity asked breathlessly. Can we even get through them? Maybe they just go after humans, Pinky offered with a tentative smile. They don't, Spitfire asked. They go after ponies too. Trust me, I know from experience. It's nothing you want to happen. It's not something you want to happen to you. She motioned down towards the sea of writhing winds. They're the reason we haven't ventured down to investigate yet. Well, that's bad. Also, I'm losing breath here. Because I decided to read 2 chapters in one sitting. Great. Rimmel pricked up. Wait a second. What about Spike's Dragonfire? She motioned towards the young Drake, still perched upon Twilight's back. He can clear them out with that, right? That might actually work, Spitfire said slowly. Not with that many vines, Twilight said, scratching up her face. There's too many for him to deal with. At her words, Spike huffed and across his arm. She glanced over her shoulder and gave him an apologetic look. Sorry, Spike, but it's true. Yeah, you're probably right, he admitted dejectedly. Yeah, you better listen to the one that gives you a home. Okay? Turning back to Spitfire, Twilight continued. A baby dragon doesn't have enough fire to deal with all the vines. He'd run out of before we get down the stairs. Judging by the amount of vines down there, we need something short of an adult dragon to clear them out with fire. Sorry, but we're fresh out of those, Fleetfoot snarked with a roll of her eyes. How about your magic? Can't you make fire with that? That might not be the best thing to ask her, Rainbow warned quickly. She's kinda running on empty. Fleetfoot gave her an exasperated look. Alright, fine, she growls. No asking the alicorn for magic. Leaning back in the air, she crossed her forelegs over her chest. In that case, I've got nothing. Where are we supposed to get buck ton of fire? Okay, so whoosh! Something igniting. Oh yeah, baby, yeah. A bright light suddenly flooded the area, driving back the surrounding darkness. It was followed almost instantly by the roar of fire. With a yelp, everyone spun around, the Wonderbolts taking up position between the elements and the new potential threat. What in the name of Celestia? Spitfire breathed, her eyes wide. So that's the... Standing in the same field outside of the building with a strange device strapped to his back was one of the Terran humans. The device, which was comprised of a large tank and some tubes, was hooked up to a hose which ran around to a large pole-like object that was grasped in his hands. From the tip of the makeshift flamethrower, a gout of fire issued forth like a geyser, washing across the side of the building. Vines turned to charcoal almost instantly as the flames swept over them. The human laughed maniacally and danced about wildly, a black figure against the fiery backdrop, lifting the pole into the air with both hands. He hooted and whooped as the flames consumed the choking vines. Come on, baby, light my fire. Come on, baby, light my fire. Trying to set the night on fire, yeah. Is he listening to music? What's going on here? Does he have an MP3 player with all that time in there? From the now cleared entranceway, a second human shouted at the first, waving a crutch about frantically. He shouted something at his companion before motioning towards the ravine. Don't kill the vines, go for the roots. The roots! The human with the flamethrower paused his burning to give the other human a look before turning and making his way hurriedly towards the ponies. At his approach, the Wonderbolts crouched down and flared their wings wide. The human ignored them, as well as the fearful looks from the elements. By the order of the crown, back off, Spitfire began. Only to have the human suddenly shout at her. Out of the way, you mythical headaches! They're not mythical, fuck you. He growled before shoving his way through the startled ponies. Flamethrower held high. He dashed down the stairs, taking them 2 at a time. As he descended, he set fire to the vines, all while laughing maniacally. Cautiously, the ponies approached the edge of the ravine just in time to see the human disappear into the gloom. Every few seconds, a burst of flames appeared in the darkness, making the human's descent to the bottom of the ravine. His laughter and weird shivering language echoed from the depths. Light my fire! What the fuck? Well, Fleetfoot said as she stared into the abyss, we found our fire. Sapphire shook herself from her stupor and took the air. Alright, every pony, form up. Fleetfoot, surprised, you're with me. We're gonna grab some thunderheads and try and help him out. Is lightning gonna be effective? Twilight asked. Against a bunch of them? No, Spitfire answered. However, against individual ones, it seemed to work just fine. We'll keep the 1 or 2 odd ones off his back. Hopefully, he'll clear the rest out. Another geyser of fire burst forth into the night, followed by a whoop. At least some ponies having fun, Fleetfoot grumbled before taking off into a storm cloud, Surprise following behind her. I'm glad he's on our side. Is he, though? Surprise asked, his brow furrowing. Misty flashed Misty Fly, Spitfire continued. You stay with the other human. She motioned towards the crush-bearing human that was still standing in the entranceway to the building. The zebra was standing next to him, watching everything play out with an amused look on his face. Keep an eye on him and make sure he doesn't run off or try to hide. When all this is done, we're taking both of them to Canterlot. Misty Fly saluted before flitting over to the building. As for you guys, Spitfire asked, turning to Lemons. She paused before saying and shaking her head. I don't know. Do whatever you need to. With that, she flew off. Twilight glanced around at her friends before picking up into the ravine. Bursts of flames were now coming from deeper, and their source nearly at the cave's entrance. Their fire was now also accompanied by bursts of light, and the muted sound of thunder. Smoke wafted from the depths as the vines burned from her back. Spike shifted about as he tried to get a better view of what was going on. Silently watching the scene for a few more seconds, Twilight then sighed before stepping gingerly off the cloud. Come on, girls, let's go. Stepping carefully down the clear steps, all 7 of them descended into the depths below. Author's note. And the rest is history. Is it though? God damn. Okay, it's been 1 hour and 14 minutes. Alright, I definitely need a rest after this chapter. Damn. Okay, so whose side are the humans? Okay, so I thought they were a part of Discord's past, but apparently not. There apparently were other humans other than the ones Discord brought in and other than Discord. I thought that was talking about his past, but nope. Apparently there's a large laboratory during that nonsense. Anyways, woo, next chapter. It's gonna be interesting. Anyways, guys, thank you all for watching and listening. Do like you guys do, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.
100,000 stories have filled my head as I look for the answers in what I